I'm Kevin Stephens, a native Pensacolian, husband, father, and U.S. Navy veteran. But that's not what this is about. I'm a local businessman who has owned many successful companies over the years. But it's not about this either. Recently, I ran for public office and was elected to a seat on the ECUA Board of Commissioners. So what's this about? It's about an elected official who will serve his community and hold his fellow elected officials accountable. All while making local government more transparent. Join me in making Pensacola a better place to live, work, and play. Welcome to another episode of On the Board with Kevin Stephens. So today, it's just going to be me, folks. I felt I owed it to the residents of Escambia County to spend the next half hour explaining my previous ECUA meeting and some of the topics, specifically the proposed rate increase. So I want to kind of jump right into it. I had the opportunity, thanks to Commissioner Stephen Berry, yesterday to be invited to a community public forum meeting at the Molino Community Center, which I enjoyed very much. And I got to actually hear from you all about your opinions. And I'll be honest with you, some pretty tough questions as they relate to the proposed rate increase, and I completely understand. One of the comments that was made to me was, they said, Kevin, when you ran on your platform of transparency and accountability, you said that you were not going to ever raise rates. And I had to correct a couple of individuals because actually, I remember those questions asked. I was at Jimmy's Grill, as a matter of fact, at a kind of a campaign meet and greet. And by the way, if you haven't gone to Jimmy's Grill on Highway 29, fantastic food, please try it out. Shameless plug for my friend Jimmy. But I remember being asked the question, Mr. Stephens, if elected, would you ever raise rates? And I answered it like this, because the safe response would be no, but that's not true. The reality is this: I answered it the same way I'm going to answer it today, the same way I answered it yesterday. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the entire proposal. I'm going to look at our own house, ECUA's house, first and foremost, right? I'm going to look at our spending, the debt schedule, the P&Ls, the balance sheets, the cash flow statements, all of that. I'm going to evaluate that. I'm going to find out where we can cut cost, where we can reduce redundancy. After doing all of that, if I can't find the money, the funds to provide the level of service that, quite frankly, Escambia County District 5 deserves, then I would be open to looking at a rate increase. This was first talked about a few weeks ago, so a lot of folks don't know, but the third Tuesday of the month is our CAC meeting. That's the Citizens Advisory Committee meeting. That's the third Tuesday, and that's where we basically, myself, the other board members, as well as some local appointees in our area, will talk about and discuss the upcoming agenda. And I remember when we were talking about the rate increase, me being opposed to it. And originally I was opposed to it. Now, I was opposed to it for a couple different reasons originally. One was on the sanitation side, because you have the sanitation sewer side, right? And then you have the garbage pickup side, right? So these are two, all ECUA, all coming on your one bill, but broken apart separately. But we discussed them separately, water and sewer as opposed to garbage. And they were looking at a 2.5% to 3% rate increase on the sanitation sewer side. And the increase was going to go into the general fund. And I said, look, I can't support raising rates and going into this black hole, also known as the general fund. I need more specificity on where that money is going to go to. What are we going to use? Because at the end of the day, I've got to go back to the ratepayers. I've got to go back to the constituents of District 5 and say, if we are going to raise your rates, here's where the money's going. You've got a right to know where it's going. So I originally said no to that with a couple suggestions that could perhaps garner my vote if we could make some modifications. So, that's a 2 to 3 part process that I'd like to go into a little bit more detail about on what the proposals are specifically on the sewer and sanitation side, and what those changes would be. One of which is raising our reserves. So again, we are in a situation right now where our reserves aren't where they need to be in order to restructure some of our debt. So when I talk to the ratepayers about cleaning our house, about tightening our belts, our fiscal belts, part of that is restructuring the debt schedule. And that is reducing our higher interest loans, paying those off with some lower interest loans. So again, that can be accomplished by going out to the open market and negotiating better rates. As we all know, we are in a time now of historically low interest rates. So being able to look at those financials, look at those balance sheets and saying, look, can we restructure some higher interest debt for some lower interest debt? What do we have to do to accomplish that? Well, we have to raise our reserves, because that's the word I hear a lot from my bankers and my various businesses is the phrase liquidity. And that's something that we've got to raise. So by raising that level of liquidity within ECUA's reserves, we're able to go out there on the open market and negotiate lower interest to pay off some higher debt, thereby lowering the interest payments, thereby lowering the level of interest, and in turn, bringing more money back to the ratepayers. So I was interested in doing something along those lines. I've also got several other asks that I wanted to that would require these would be required to be met prior to getting a yes vote on the 2.5% to 3% increase on the sewer. So give me a few minutes after this short commercial break, and we'll be right back, and let me go over that with you.
Extreme Pumping and Septic. Septic system services, lift station services, storm drain jetting, grease trap cleaning, and more. Extreme Pumping and Septic is your portable toilet rental headquarters for Baldwin, Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa. Got an extreme emergency? Extreme Pumping and Septic has 24/7 emergency services 7 days a week. Extreme Pumping and Septic is the only septic company in our area with financing options. Call now or book online at extremepumpingandseptic.net.
Hi, I'm Sean McCorkle with Genesis Land and Title. What makes a great title company? Forbes magazine says that a good title company does two things well. They coordinate the transaction efficiently and they provide remarkable customer service. You know, there are few things worse than poor customer service when you are spending your hard-earned money. Our professional and friendly team will go above and beyond to ensure that your closing experience is as pleasant and stress-free as possible.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma. I have a mentor, and she convinced me to continue my education.
No one receives a diploma alone.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, go get it. You can do it.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
I'm hooked on pot. Yeah, you heard that right. I'm the tool you've been looking for your whole life. I'm portable, sexy, convenient, and I come in all colors. I carry, drain, and spread love to everyone who's a part of your special occasion. In the past, you struggled to prepare seafood boils the right way. After our first rodeo, you'll be hooked forever. You haven't seen me before, but I'm here to stay. Hooked on pot.
If you love them enough to suck the snot out of their nose at 4 a.m., then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Hi, I'm Smokey Cole Bear, filling in because for 75 years, Smokey only said,
"Only you can prevent wildfires."
Meanwhile, the song was wrong. We did start the fire. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Welcome back to On the Board with Kevin Stephens. So let's jump right back into it again. So where we left off was what the board needed to do, or the staff needed to convince me of, to get a yes vote on a 2.5% to 3% increase on the water and sewer. So one thing was, again, me being a financial guy, I know we need to restructure our debt schedule. I understand enough about finances to know that when you go to a bank and ask them to borrow money, they want you to have a large cash reserve. And the higher cash reserves you have, the lower interest rates you're going to be able to negotiate, right? So in that 2.5% to 3% is going to be some additional money, an additional $500,000 to $1 million that goes into our reserves, designated, earmarked to negotiate lower interest rates for some additional loans. In addition to that, you know, I had the opportunity 2 weeks ago or a few weeks ago at our meeting, Representative Salzman joined us, and I'm certainly thankful for her taking the time, had her busy day to go to our meeting. And we've been working on what we call FDEP, Florida Department of Environmental Protection grant money. These are grant opportunities provided by the state. This is money provided via the federal government to the state government to provide to local governments, in this case, Escambia County. So selfishly speaking, I'm more concerned about Escambia County. So in order to qualify for some of these grants, we've got to have, again, matching funds. Now, it's not a requirement to have it, but I can tell you when they start checking off the boxes on between Pensacola or Sarasota or Jacksonville or one of the other cities, all vying, right? All putting their name in the hat to get some of these millions of dollars of federal funds, they're going to look much more favorably on a county who is actually going to contribute a percentage of it. So one of the projects was Brownsville. And everybody knows the situations they're having in Brownsville right now with the lack of sewer, right? So it still boggles my mind. It boggles a lot of folks' mind that we've got septic tanks in and out of city limits. You know, in my neck of the woods in District 5, we don't have a big issue with that. I remember a phone conversation I was having with Commissioner Stephen Berry a couple months ago, and I said, you know, Stephen, you know, we're looking at doing some proposals right here for some projects. We're working on our fiscal 2022 budget. You know, is there anything out there in District 5 that I'm not seeing as it relates to sewer that we need some help with? Because now's the time when I can start asking, right? You know, and then and again, you think about it. When it comes to sewer in District 5, it's all fairly new. It's not old. We're not talking about late 1800s or 1900s sewer systems in the north end of the county in most cases. The infrastructure out there is fairly new. So we have a lot of septic tanks out there. You know, it's kind of funny going back to that campaign rally I had last year at Jimmy's Grill, and I'm talking about making some infrastructure investments up 29 to bring sewer up there, and then we can go east and west off of 29. But let's just get it up there. Of course, Jimmy was a real big proponent of it, as well as several business owners, right? Because they're business owners, they want the sewer. I told him, I said, look, you know, I'm thinking this is a great thing. I got a lot of pushback. It's the tale of two cities. A lot of folks south of Cantonment want sewer. There's a lot of folks north of Cantonment, north of Molino who don't. They're just happy with their septic systems. Personally speaking, I fall into that camp. You know, my property, almost 40 acres, I have a completely sufficient, well-working, recently updated septic system. So no problems there. But again, that's not the case with Brownsville. So instead of me saying, look, I will vote for a 2.5%, 3% increase to get some of these matching FDEP funds, but I'm not going to designate it for just one particular project. I believe Brownsville merits some additional money, but there's multiple projects. So I want to get with staff, sit down with staff, and say, guys, girls, lay out for us the projects that could really need some state help. We can't do it all with ECUA money. We can't do it all with Escambia County money. Lay those out. And instead of designating, say, just Brownsville or just this particular project, let's go ahead and throw multiple hooks in the water. My grandfather used to say, the more hooks you got in the water, the more opportunity you got to catch a fish. So let's throw those out there. If we can do that, and we can designate this set-aside money, reserve money, for some of these FDEP projects, okay? And again, this is matching funds. This is free money, ladies and gentlemen. This is free money. If we raise $1 million and we qualify for a grant for $2 million, that's $1 million the state of Florida is going to give to Escambia County, these infrastructure projects. That's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer. So again, that was what I needed to get my yes vote on the sewer increase, was if we can put this money in the matching funds, we're going to designate it for multiple projects, not just one particular project, not just a Brownsville or north end of the county, but multiple projects, because I don't know what we're going to get approved. We don't know what we're going to get approved. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to swing for the fences at the state and apply for as many grants as we can. Again, free money, but we may not get it all. But there's a high likelihood we will get some of these projects approved. And if we don't have the money in the proverbial kitty, if we don't have the money in our reserves, our likelihood getting some of these approved goes way, way down. We've got to have the matching funds. Okay, so that was what it took for me to get my yes vote, is if we could designate some of those funds there. So two things: A, additional money in reserves to qualify for some of these federal Department of Environmental Protection grant money, free money. That was the first thing. Second thing was pay off some of our high interest long-term debt, which is coming down there, as well as giving us the ability to restructure our current debt schedule and qualify for some additional money. We've got some grants that we may qualify for, in addition to what we have in reserves. If we got our balance sheets looking the way they need to look, we can go to the banks. We can say, hey, look, we've got XYZ. Here's the amount of money we have in our reserve account. We'd like to borrow this amount of money to qualify for some additional state funds, again, matching funds, and be able to negotiate, a 4 or 5% interest rate. So that's what we're looking to do. That was what the board needed to give me as a give and take. I'm 1 out of 5. That's what they needed to give me specificity on what we're going to spend those funds on to get my yes on that. So second part of that is going to be garbage. And that's a completely separate issue. And just in a few minutes, we'll be right back, and I'll explain to you what it would take to get my yes vote on the garbage end of things. We'll be right back in a short minute. Thank you so much.
Extreme Fleet Maintenance is a complete hydraulic and diesel servicing company for the Gulf Coast region, specializing in Ford Power Stroke, Dodge Cummins, Chevy Duramax, and all diesel. We work on light and heavy-duty vehicles, forklifts, hydraulics, generators, warehouse, and farm equipment. Our emergency services are 24/7. When you need us, we are there. Call us at 850-972-8087.
At Florida Insurance Agency, we have enough available resources to insure just about anything in Florida at the best rates. With dozens of companies to choose from, you don't just get a policy, you get the best policy for you. That means savings and comfort, knowing you are covered. We're only a local phone call away, and you can stop by any of our 3 offices anytime for assistance. Florida Insurance Agency. Our policy is great service.
YNG Global provides intense real-world combat training for individuals and teams. Our firearms training includes concealed carry, pistol, rifle, and advanced weapons and tactics. Our medical training involves evidence-based life-saving techniques, and our close protection services provide safe, controlled, monitored movement for personnel and executives. We're the only tactile pistol and carbine training facility in the Panhandle. Get the best at 850-380-1085.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I bought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
It's all good, baby.
Is it really all good?
If you love me enough to routinely test your handyman skills, not to mention the strength of your marriage, then of course you'll visit nhtsa.gov/therightseat to make sure I'm in the right car seat.
I'm hooked on pot. Yeah, you heard that right. I'm the tool you've been looking for your whole life. I'm portable, sexy, convenient, and I come in all colors. I carry drain, and spread love to everyone who's a part of your special occasion. In the past, you struggled to prepare seafood boils the right way. After our first rodeo, you'll be hooked forever. You haven't seen me before, but I'm here to stay. Hooked on pot.
It's not.
Welcome back to On the Board with Kevin Stephens. And I apologize if we're moving real fast, ladies and gentlemen. You know, it's a 30-minute show. I've got 22 minutes, and and my board meetings typically take me about 3.5 hours. So I'm trying to condense all of that discussion, 3.5 hours of discussion, specifically about rate increases, into 22 minutes and give you all as best explanation as I possibly can. So that we talked about the 3% proposed 2.5-3% increase in wastewater sewer increase. Let's talk about garbage. And garbage has more relevancy to myself and you all in District 5 than the sewer, because everybody's not on sewer with ECUA. But most folks in the north end of the county, or water, I should say, north end of the county. Some folks are on people's water, like myself. But everybody, with the exception of some folks in Century, use our garbage services, right? Probably the number one call I get, and I've probably got about 86 emails I'll be returning. So I have not forgot about you folks. I've returned my phone calls in 24 hours, emails within 24 to 48. But the number one call I get is missed garbage pickup or missed bulk pickup. And so that is something that I'm probably on the phone with 8 or 9 o'clock at night. I'm talking to someone who is, pardon my French, pissed off, I don't know if I can say that on camera, about a missed garbage pickup. And I get it. If you've got garbage out there, they missed it, it's full, you had a family event, you want it picked up. And so again, I've set the expectation with my director, Bruce Woody, as well as various department heads. You send me an email, name, address, phone number, just a brief description of what happened, why they didn't pick it up, or what happened, the date and time you put it out there, that sort of thing. If it's happened multiple times, I need to know that. And then I send it to Mr. Woody, I copy the corresponding department head, and they return my phone call and or email back within 24 hours. And those of you all who have reached out to me know that to be true. I'm usually get a call or an email that says, thank you, Mr. Stephens, they came and got my garbage, or if we missed a street at times, then again, those are some happy folks. So selfishly speaking, that's instant gratification. I enjoy doing that, being able to help folks like that. But how do we reduce it? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. The big thing right now we have is pay. I mean, we're paying on average, our sanitation drivers start out at $14.50 an hour. This is for a CDL. This is a commercial driver's license. These are heavy truck drivers, right? I have a lot of knowledge in that because I've got interest in various companies that have lots of trucks. Various companies, we probably are running somewhere around 70 to 80 trucks. Very expensive. Not only are you paying high insurance rates, but high fuel costs, but you're paying high salaries. So we're having a real difficulty right now keeping and retaining existing CDL drivers, as well as trying to appeal to and recruit additional drivers. And again, ECUA is in the same situation. I talked to several friends of mine who also own businesses. We're all in the same boat, guys and girls. We're all in the same boat because I'm having the same issue. Every one of my business partners are complaining about not getting adequate help. Anybody at the sound of my voice has gone into a restaurant and you're told you're waiting 35 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour wait. You look around, half the restaurant's empty. You're like, what's going on? Well, we know what's going on, right? They don't have the help. They don't have the manpower. ECUA is no different, ladies and gentlemen. Our plumbing pipe has gone up. Our fuel costs have gone up. Our maintenance and repairs have gone up. By the way, we need diesel mechanics. So please put the word out. We could use some diesel mechanics to fix our trucks. So again, before I agreed to a rate increase on the garbage side of the house, right, the sanitation garbage side of the house, I said, look, I need that targeted. This money's not going into a black hole, into some reserve fund, into Never Never Land. I want it earmarked in the bill that says if we increase these rates, it's going to our employees. okay? It's going specifically our CDL drivers and some of our other garbage haulers and our staff. Because, ladies and gentlemen, nobody wants to pay more. Nobody wants to pay more. And let me just say about the rate increase, if passed, that's if it's passed, we're talking about $3 a month. Now, I'm not arbitrarily saying $3 a month is not a lot of money, okay? It's not as much money to the person that's working. It sure as heck is a lot of money to someone who's on a fixed income. It's a lot. So I'm very cognizant of that. But at the same time, I've got an obligation to you all to make sure your garbage gets picked up and picked up on time. And when I've got existing CDL drivers working 50, 60 hours a week, working overtime, which hiring additional drivers would cut the overtime, thereby saving the ratepayers money, we can do that. So that's my deal. I heard the argument about utilizing impact fees to the builders or developers. We're a public company. You own us. We own it. We own ECUA. You can't. It's not legal to take funds from one industry to add it to another industry. You have to take funds from the individuals who are benefiting from the service. Every builder and developer, ladies and gentlemen, who has builds a subdivision pays 100%. We don't offset any of that. ECUA charges that builder and developer 100% of the infrastructure required to install that lift station and to install that sewer main. It's 100% paid for. So I wanted to address that because that was an argument that I had, is why can't we raise impact fees on the builders developers to offset that? First of all, it's not legally. We can't do that. And secondly, that's not fair to them. They're not benefiting from the garbage service. The individuals who build that, who move into those 100 homes, are going to benefit for that. So just to understand, please come next month, the last Tuesday of July, to our public forum meeting. And I want to hear your concerns. I want to hear your objections to a proposed rate increase. I want to hear from you. Please come next Tuesday. Unfortunately, there's not enough time to discuss every issue I'd like to in 22 minutes, but I'd love to hear from you. Please email me at kstevens, that's kstevens@dist5.com, or call me on my cell phone, 850-380-3431. Thank you. God bless. Hope to see you into the months we can discuss this further. Have a great evening.
I'm hooked on pot. Yeah, you heard that right. I'm the tool you've been looking for your whole life. I'm portable, sexy, convenient, and I come in all colors. I carry, drain, and spread love to everyone who's a part of your special occasion. In the past, you struggled to prepare seafood boils the right way. After our first rodeo, you'll be hooked forever. You haven't seen me before, but I'm here to stay. Hooked on pot.
At Florida Insurance Agency, we have enough available resources to insure just about anything in Florida at the best rates. With dozens of companies to choose from, you don't just get a policy, you get the best policy for you. That means savings and comfort, knowing you are covered. We're only a local phone call away, and you can stop by any of our 3 offices anytime for assistance. Florida Insurance Agency. Our policy is great service.
YNG Global provides intense real-world combat training for individuals and teams. Our firearms training includes concealed carry, pistol, rifle, and advanced weapons and tactics. Our medical training involves evidence-based life-saving techniques, and our close protection services provide safe, controlled, monitored movement for personnel and executives. We're the only tactile pistol and carbine training facility in the Panhandle. Get the best at 850-380-1085.
Extreme Pumping and Septic. Septic system services, lift station services, storm drain jetting, grease trap cleaning, and more. Extreme Pumping and Septic is your portable toilet rental headquarters for Baldwin, Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa. Got an extreme emergency? Extreme Pumping and Septic has 24/7 emergency services 7 days a week. Extreme Pumping and Septic is the only septic company in our area with financing options. Call now or book online at extremepumpingandseptic.net.